Ladies and gentlemen, I am deeply conscious of the honor you have done me in asking me to preside over this conference. I cannot disguise my feeling of pride about it because, as one who started his career as a stenographer and who claimed to have taken some part along with my friend on my right in the inauguration of the first conference. I feel that it is really an honor done to the profession and incidentally a recognition of my humble services to the cause of the art and the profession. 2 decades have rolled by since the conference was started. I am glad that the movement has inspired of the inevitable setback it had during the difficult days been kept alive and strong. I do not think it is at all necessary for me now to dwell upon the important value or utility of shorthand. Suffice it for me to state that in a world advanced with modern science, which is ever attempting to conquer distance and space, and in an age of speed like this, shorthand is the machinery for the expeditious dispatch of business in every department of modern activity. Indeed, shorthand has become part and parcel of modern life. Imagine what newspapers would be without reports of events and incidents expeditiously supplied to them by reporters. How much time would judge have to waste if they were asked to write laborious judgments in their own hand? Think of the difficulty a modern businessman would be in if he had to write his letters in his own hand, so that demand and scope for efficient stenographers are ever on the increase. The nature of work of a stenographer, though essentially the same, varies from department to department. In the legislatures and local councils and committees, verbatim reporting is the keynote, and speeches have to be taken down as delivered and transcribed then and there. In the journalistic field today, owing to exigencies of space, only condensed and descriptive reports are required in a court of law. Precision is the prime need, and in business houses, accurate and neat reports are wanted. While for verbatim reporting, a high degree of skill in shorthand and a good speed are necessary. The preparation of condensed reports requires a capacity to discriminate between the essential and non essential and the ability to set out the background, and in regard to court reporting, a knowledge of law and its technicalities would be useful. In all these cases, it is not enough if a stenographer has a mere mastery of shorthand or even a good speed, which by themselves, of course, are by no means easy to achieve. He must have an all round general knowledge. He may today be called upon to report the address of a reputed politician, and tomorrow he may have to record the evidence of an expert witness in medicine. Unless a stenographer possesses at least an elementary knowledge of the subjects which he is called upon to report, he cannot do justice to his job and produce a sensible report, which is always required of him. He must have really resourcefulness and a keen understanding of the background of the events which he is called upon to report. Above all, the great need of a stenographer is a very high character. He is always custodian of highly confidential information, and he must never deviate from the right path. You know how leakages of budget secrets a few hours before the publication of the budget have led to dangerous speculation in the share and money markets. A stenographer has almost always to work as the personal clerk or secretary or assistant by whatever name he may be called of an officer, and he has necessarily to adjust himself to the pace of his master, and he must therefore have a high degree of adjustability. I feel bound at this stage to clear an impression which unfortunately exists even now in some quarters, that shorthand writing is a mechanical art, and that a shorthand writer is a mere machine recording and reproducing faithfully what is dictated to him. I can only say that impression is based on a misapprehension born of ignorance of art and of a correct understanding of the profession. If a stenographer did not, as he very often does, edit the matter dictated, he would very often stand the risk of the employer disowning his speech and is losing his job as well. It is the duty of the stenographer to cover up the faults of speaker, and it is his general knowledge and capacity come into play. If the touch of the stenographer were not needed, a discipline could easily replace him successfully. But I believe you all know that the dictaphone has been tried to earlier and even recently, but has been a miserable failure. The profession of stenography is not only a difficult but also a strenuous one. Taking down shorthand notes and reproducing them on the typewriter by themselves involve both physical and mental strain. The strain is all the greater when the stenographer has to catch indistinct and indifferent speeches or dictation, and when doing high speed writing, his mental powers must always be on the alert. The mental strain involved during transcription, especially in patching up loose dictation and sometimes filling up gaps, is terrible indeed. By reason of the fact that stenographers almost always work in close association with the boss, the efficient and hard working of them naturally get a training in administration and become after some years fit to manage the trade or office. I am very glad to find that of late there has been a recognition of the merits of stenographers in suitable cases in the filling up the responsible administrative posts. I should like at this stage sound a note of caution to stenographers. It would not do for them to come into the field ill equipped and desire better conditions. They should equip themselves well for the profession. They should have a mastery of shorthand and a sound general knowledge, and they must cultivate the habit of reading widely and working hard. Deserve and desire should be the stenographer's motto. Thank you.